Hello everybody and welcome to Decision 2024 Hypothetical Episode 1. Our candidates include businesswoman Abigail Johnson, otherwise the richest woman in Massachusetts. Actually the richest person in Massachusetts. Current Governor Charlie Baker of Massachusetts. Former Governor of Connecticut Jody Rell. Current Chief Justice John Roberts. Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts Karen Polito. Former UN Ambassador and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. Former Virginia Congressman Virgil Goode. Iowa is projected to go to Charlie Baker. Here's the current totals for Iowa. Here's the here's the rest of the Here's the first page with delegate allocations going to Iowa. Here's the second page. Here's the current map. So far, only one state has been filled out thus far, and that is Iowa. Charlie Baker is represented in yellow. Here's the delegate allocation. New Hampshire is projected to go to Abigail Johnson. Here is the delegate allocations for New Hampshire. Here's the current map. New Hampshire is not filled in due to there being a tie between Baker and Johnson. Here's the delegate allocation, this time colored in. Jody Rell has dropped out and has chosen to endorse Charlie Baker, as well as Karen Polito. Both of them, Polito and Rell, have chosen to endorse Charlie Baker. South Carolina projected to go to Nikki Haley. Here's the delegate allocation for South Carolina. As you can see, Nikki Haley is being represented by the color pink. Here's the delegate allocation thus far. It is essentially a four-way tie for the nomination. Nevada projected to go to John Roberts. Here's the delegate allocation for Nevada. John Roberts is represented by the color green on this map. Here's the current delegate allocation thus far. Alabama projected to go to Nikki Haley. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Alabama. Alaska projected to go to Abigail Johnson. Here's the delegate allocation for Alaska. Arkansas projected to go to Nikki Haley. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Arkansas. Colorado projected to go to John Roberts. Here are the delegate allocation for the state of Colorado. Georgia projected to go to Nikki Haley. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Georgia. Massachusetts, Charlie Baker's home state and the state that he governs, is projected to go to him. Here's the current map. Charlie Baker seems to have a 19.5% lead over the rest of the field. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Massachusetts. Minnesota projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts seems to have a 1.6% lead over the rest of the field. Minnesota, here's the delegate allocation for the state of Minnesota. North Dakota projected to go to John Roberts. Seems as if John Roberts has a 5.4 percentage lead over the rest of the field. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of North Dakota, a essential tie between John Roberts and Abigail Johnson. Oklahoma projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts essentially has a 3.7 point lead. Again, I could be wrong. Oh, excuse me. The delegate allocation for the state of Oklahoma is shown here. Tennessee projected to go to Nikki Haley. Haley has a 5.2% percentage lead over the rest of the field. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Tennessee. Texas is projected to go to John Roberts. Roberts has a 9.6 percentage lead over the rest of the field in Texas. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Texas. Vermont is projected to go to Charlie Baker. Baker has a 5 point... it's either 5.1, 4.9. I don't have the math with me right now. Forgive me about that. But here's the delegate allocation for the state of Vermont. Virginia projected to go to Nikki Haley. Haley has a 4.1 lead advantage over the rest of the field. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Virginia. Wyoming projected to go to John Roberts. Roberts has a 6.9 percentage lead over the rest of the field. Here is the delegate allocation for the state of Wyoming. And that ends Super Tuesday. Here's the current map. Red is symbolized by Abigail Johnson, green for John Roberts, yellow for Charlie Baker, and pink for Nikki Haley. Here's the delegate allocation thus far. John Roberts is subsequently in the lead as far as delegates go, but it's still anyone's race among these top 4 candidates. Virgil Good has dropped out and has chosen not to endorse any of the remainder candidates. It is unclear why, but media speculation does have that he could be a potential VP pick for one of the current candidates. Kansas projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts essentially has a 4.9 percentage lead over the rest of the field. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Kansas. Kentucky projected to go to Nikki Haley. Haley essentially has a 4.4 percentage lead over the rest of the field in Kentucky. But here is the delegate allocation for Kentucky. Louisiana projected to go to Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley has an 8.7 percentage lead over the rest of the field in Louisiana. Here's the delegate allocation for Louisiana. Maine is projected to go to Charlie Baker. Charlie Baker has a 4.6 percentage lead over the rest of the field in Maine. And here's the delegate allocation for Maine. Here's the current map. So far you can see a lot of green and a lot of pink. But of course, this map could very well change. We could end up seeing a lot of yellow and red by the end of it. Here's the current delegate allocation thus far. John Roberts sustains his lead, but Nikki Haley has taken second place, while Charlie Baker, who won Iowa, the first in the nation contest, is in last. Puerto Rico is projected to go to Abigail Johnson. This is mostly due to her massive ad spending strategy that she has acquired. Here's the current poll showings, the final poll straw polls, of course. Here's the current delegate allocation for Puerto Rico. Here's the total delegate allocations. John Roberts still sustains his lead, but Abigail Johnson slowly creeping up on second place and taking it from Nikki Haley. Roughly 17 delegates away from becoming second place. Hawaii projected to go to Abigail Johnson. excuse me, I'm sorry, all these names are wrong, but excuse me, Abigail Johnson has a 5 to 6 point lead over the rest of the field in Hawaii. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Hawaii. Idaho projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts has a 20 to 21 point or percent lead over the rest of the field in Idaho. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Idaho. John Roberts seemingly blowing everyone else out of the water in the state. Michigan projected to go to John Roberts, a key state for all four of these campaigns. John Roberts has a 10 to 11 point lead in the state of Michigan. He's doing a lot better than what the polls had him. The polls had him 6 to 7 points ahead of everybody else, but he blown expectations out of the water in the state of Michigan. Here's the current here's the delegate allocation for the state of Michigan. Mississippi projected to go to Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley has a 13 to 14 point lead over the rest of the field. And again, these names are wrong. Excuse me, I must fire my technician. Here's the current delegation allocation for the state of Mississippi. Here are the current delegates allocated so far. John Roberts is in first place, Nikki Haley in second, and again, still Charlie Baker in a narrow fourth place, only needing roughly 15 or 14 delegates to surpass Abigail Johnson. Speaking of which, Charlie Baker has dropped out of the race and has chosen to endorse fellow Massachusetts citizen Abigail Johnson. This is a huge event. A lot of people expected him to endorse someone like John Roberts or Nikki Haley, but I guess he's going to stay within his hometown and endorse Abigail Johnson. Abigail Johnson is the projected winner in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That is a huge lead. She has won all the delegates since Roberts and Haley could not attain 15% in the final result. Current delegate allocations thus far: Abigail Johnson roughly 9 delegates away from roughly 9 to 10 delegates away from taking second place from Nikki Haley. Speaking of Nikki Haley, she is the projected winner in Washington, D.C. She has a 5 to 6 point lead in the state of Washington, D.C. among the other two candidates. And here's the delegate allocation for the district, not the state, of Washington, D.C. Guam is projected to go to Abigail Johnson. Unlike the U.S. Virgin Islands, John Roberts was able to hit 15%, but Nikki Haley was not. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Guam, the district of Guam. Here's the current map thus far. You're seeing a lot more red, especially in these especially on, not on continental U.S., but states like Alaska, Hawaii, and districts such as Guam, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. Florida, another key state that the polls showed. Sometimes it was John Roberts up, sometimes Nikki Haley up. A lot of people said this was a state Nikki Haley needed to win to stay in this race, and it does seem like she has won the state. She has won the state by around 5 points, 4 or 5 points. Very narrow. She won it by a lean margin, but she was still able to win it. Every candidate hit 15%. And here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Florida. Illinois, another state pundits had as a close call. Of course, the polls had Roberts roughly sustaining a lead above, in most of the polls, a 2 to 3 point win above most of the other competitors, especially Johnson and Haley. Usually that 2 to 3 point lead roughly stayed in all of the polls that were conducted in the state of Illinois. And he won it roughly about 3 to 4, so that the polls were roughly correct. Every candidate hit 15%, so they will all be attaining delegates. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Illinois. Missouri projected to go to John Roberts. A lot of polls had Nikki Haley up in the state. Had her up 2 to 3 points in Missouri, but I guess the final result shows John Roberts taking the state. And he wins by 4.7, 3.7, 4.3 points. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Missouri. The Northern Mariana Islands is projected to go to Abigail Johnson. Her lead has been dwindling in these non-continental U.S. territories, districts, whatever you want to call them. First it was 70, then 60, then now in the 50s. This time Haley and Roberts both have broken the 15% threshold and will all be getting delegates from this district. Here's the delegate allocation for the territory in Northern Mariana Islands. North Carolina is projected to go to Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley has a 1 to 2 point lead over the rest of the field. It's a narrow lead, but she was still able to win the state. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of North Carolina. Ohio projected to go to John Roberts. Roberts was able to win the state by roughly 11 to 12 points. He won it by a very safe margin, very safe. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Ohio. Here's the current map. You can see a lot more green, a lot more pink is being filled in on the map. A lot of people are questioning whether Abigail Johnson should stay in the race or not. Here's the current delegate allocation for the 2024 Republican primary. The remaining candidates have all solidified have hit 400 delegates, so it's still anyone's race at the moment. Thoughts of a contested convention have been raising up in the media, but a lot of conservatives have, they're not worried that this will happen. They're confident that we will have a winner by the end of it. Northern Mariana Islands are projected to go to Abigail Johnson. Or excuse me, American Samoa. Sorry, another error from our technician. Again, her lead is dwindling. And here's the delegate allocation for the territory of American Samoa. Arizona projected to go to John Roberts. He's won the state roughly by 11 to 12 points. A very safe margin. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of Arizona. Utah projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts has broke 50%. Back on our rules back in 2016, he would have won all the delegates, but our rules are different now. Here is the delegate allocation for the state of Utah. Here's the current map again. Some more green. Nikki Haley did not win a single contest this time around. Then again, if we didn't have American Samoa, voting, Abigail Johnson would not have won either. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state, for the race thus far. Nikki Haley has been surpassed by Abigail Johnson in terms of delegates. Nikki Haley has dropped out of the presidential race and has chosen to endorse John Roberts. Breaking news, former 2024 Republican candidate Virgil Goode announces a third-party bid for the 2024 election, stating that he doesn't believe that the RNC will pick the right candidates when they go to a contested convention, and conservative needs somebody that will stand by them. So Virgil Goode will be running as an independent in the 2024 election. Let's see if he can break 5% and make it onto the debate stage. But based off some polling we had by the races he was in, he did really good, roughly hitting 10 to 11% in most of the races he was in. Wisconsin projected to go to John Roberts. Here's the current. John Roberts was able to win by 15 to 14% in the state of Wisconsin. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of Wisconsin. Here's the map thus far. That is wrong. That it should not be red. It should be green. Here's the map. Here is the delegate allocation. John Roberts has broke 500 delegates. New York is projected to go to John Roberts. He won by roughly 12 to 13 points in the state of, that should say New York, not Wisconsin. Here's the current delegate allocation for the state of New York. Here's the current delegate allocation. Abigail Johnson broke 500, but John Roberts has broken 600. Abigail Johnson has dropped out, but of course, she says this is only a temporary thing and she will be back in the race momentarily, stating that she is dealing with some personal issues among family members. So we don't know what this entails, but of course, it's only a temporary thing. So at the moment, John Roberts is currently the only candidate left and has become the presumptive nominee. Now, we don't know if Abigail Johnson will hop back into the Republican primary or will run third party such as Virgil Goode, though there have been some insiders saying that she might run for the Libertarian or Green Party nominations. Connecticut is projected to go to John Roberts. All their electoral votes go to John Roberts. Delaware, all their electoral votes go to John Roberts. Maryland, all of their delegates will go to John Roberts. Pennsylvania, all of their delegates will go to John Roberts. Rhode Island, all of their delegates will go to John Roberts. Here's the current map. A lot of green is now forming due to Abigail Johnson temporarily dropping out from the presidential race, though we don't know if she's gone from the Republican primary altogether, but we'll just have to find out. Here's the current delegate allocation. John Roberts, 5 delegates away from breaking 800 delegates. John Roberts announces Nikki Haley as his running mate, so we do have an official ticket for the Republican primary. It'll be the Roberts-Haley ticket against what we can assume is the Cuomo Whitmer ticket that is in 2024. Andrew Cuomo ran unopposed in the Democratic primary and essentially became the presumptive nominee straight after winning Iowa. So we have the Roberts-Haley ticket versus the Cuomo-Whitmer ticket, as it seems right now. Indiana projected to go to, all of Indiana's electoral delegates will go to John Roberts. I'm sorry about that. I'm having an off day. Here's the current map right now. It seems that besides Iowa, John Roberts has swept the Rust Belt. Here's the current delegate allocations. John Roberts has finally broke 800 delegates. Nebraska, all of their delegates will be going to John Roberts, as well as West Virginia's delegates. Here's the current map as it stands now. On Predicted, it shows that John Roberts will be winning the rest of these states. This is according to the predicted predictions. John Roberts has broke 900 delegates, just roughly 60 delegates away from breaking 1,000. Abigail Johnson has stated that she will re-enter the 2024 Republican primary before the next set of contests. So she is the first person in history to suspend their campaign and then re-enter the same contest within an election year. So she has re-entered the 2024 Republican primary. Oregon projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts has won the state of Oregon by 12 to 13 points, meaning Abigail Johnson's re-entering was pretty useless. Here's the delegate allocation thus far, though the delegates does show her only losing by 2 delegates, so there's that. Here's the map thus far. Total delegates allocated. Washington is projected to go to John Roberts, and he has won the state by 9 points, so he won it by a likely margin. Abigail Johnson now regaining that steam. We had another debate, which was said to be the last, which is being touted as the last debate by the hosted by the RNC. Here's the delegate allocation. John Roberts winning 4 more delegates than Johnson did. Here's the current map thus far. A lot of green is now popping up on this map, and we have our final contests within California, New Mexico, Montana, South Dakota, and New Jersey coming soon. Here's the current delegate allocation. John Roberts is the projected winner in California. He has won the state of California by roughly 4 to 5 points. Here's the current delegate allocation thus far, for the state of California. Montana projected to go to John Roberts. Here's the delegate allocation thus far for Montana. New Jersey projected to go to John Roberts. Here's the delegate allocation for the state of New Jersey. New Mexico projected to go to John Roberts. John Roberts won the state by roughly 18 to 19 points in New Mexico. Here's the current delegate allocation for New Mexico. South Dakota, I think is the final contest of the night. Of the primary season. I could be wrong, but John Roberts is the projected winner in that. And he has won the race by roughly 16 to 17, maybe even 18 points. And here's the current delegate allocation for South Dakota. Here's the final map. North Dakota and New Hampshire are not filled in due to them being ties in their delegate vote. Here's the final delegate allocation. John Roberts has broken 1,100 votes, but has not hit the minimum required to reach the nomination, so we will go to a contested convention. Breaking in, the Republican National Convention Committee, or whatever you want to call them, is considering 4 different candidates for the nomination due to this contested convention. The 2 candidates that are still left in the race, Abigail Johnson and Charlie Baker, obvious. But they have Virgil Good on here due to the fact they don't want to have the vote split. That is what I'm reading from this article. They don't want to have a vote splitting from 2 of the 2 conservative members against Cuomo. But they're also considering Mitt Romney due to him being a safe bet, from what I'm reading here on this article. But only time will tell. We're supposed to find out in a couple weeks. Just in, John Roberts was voted in to become the 2024 Republican nominee for the 2024 general election. So John Roberts has become the 2024 Republican nominee. Thank you guys for watching my videos. Go down to the description, click on the links for my main channel, gaming channel, Twitter, and Instagram. Go subscribe and follow those. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and click the bell for future notifications. Finally, if I can get 5 likes on this video, I will do a John Roberts versus Andrew Cuomo versus Virgil Good election night. Thank you. Have a nice day.